She rehearsed lies in front of the mirror. I rehearsed the court speech that destroyed her. I used to think betrayal came crashing down like a thunderclap. One giant moment, undeniable, brutal. Turns out, sometimes it creeps in on slippered feet, wearing a familiar face, whispering rehearsed apologies into a bathroom mirror. Her name's Lauren, 31. Aspiring actress, part-time yoga instructor, full-time expert at pretending. We'd been married 9 years. 9 years of birthdays, Christmases, anniversaries. 9 years of shared Netflix accounts, grocery lists, inside jokes nobody else understood. I was 33, working full-time as a financial consultant. Good salary, long hours, stress, sure, but I thought we were building something. I thought she understood the sacrifices I was making to give her space to chase her theater dreams. She didn't just understand. She used it. It was a Wednesday when everything cracked. I came home early, stomach knotted from a brutal meeting with a client who thought shouting equaled negotiating. I remember thinking, maybe Lauren and I can sneak out for burgers tonight. Just something normal. Easy. I wanted normal so bad I could taste it. The house was quiet. Lights low. Just the ticking of the old wall clock she loved. Then I heard it. Her voice. Soft, fragile. Coming from the bathroom. I froze just outside the door. I made a mistake, she whispered. Please, you have to believe me. I never meant to hurt you. Another pause. A shaky breath. I love you. I love you. For a second, I thought she was on the phone, begging someone. My stomach dropped clean out of my body. But then I peeked through the crack in the door. She wasn't on the phone. She was facing the mirror, tears welling up on command, shoulders shaking in all the right places. Practicing. I stood there, heart hammering in my ears, watching my wife rehearse a breakdown like it was just another audition. I should have barged in, demanded answers. Instead, I backed away, step by careful step. Like if she saw me, it would shatter something I wasn't ready to face yet. I sat on the edge of the bed for a long time after that, staring at nothing, while she moved around the house like nothing had happened. Later that night, she kissed me goodnight. Light. Casual. Like she wasn't hiding a script in her back pocket. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I kept hearing her voice. I love you. Over and over. By morning, something inside me had changed. It was like standing on thin ice and hearing the first splintering crack underneath your feet. You don't run. You don't jump. You freeze. You listen. You survive. The next few days, I watched her like a man studying an alien pretending to be human. The way she overexplained where she was going. The way her phone never left her side, not even for a trip to the bathroom. The way she smiled too brightly, laughed too sharply, touched me just a little too deliberately, like checking a box on a list titled Normal Wife Things to Do. She was slipping, and she had no idea I was already miles ahead of her. I started looking for gaps, slips, proof. It didn't take long. One night, after she passed out early from too much rehearsal stress, I noticed her laptop open on the couch. I wasn't planning to snoop. God knows I didn't want to. But once you know someone's lying to your face, every word they say feels radioactive. You start craving the truth like a dying man craves water. The screen blinked up at me. An email chain. Between her and someone named R. I clicked, and there it was. Lines and lines of gushing, starry-eyed garbage. You make me feel seen. I can't stop thinking about last night. When you touched my hand during the scene, I felt it everywhere. Scene. Right. She was working with him, pretending it was just art. Just acting. Bull. I scrolled further, found meeting spots, dinner plans, one message where she joked, "Hope my hubby doesn't catch me rehearsing this scene with you tonight." My hands were shaking, not with rage. With something worse. A hollow, gnawing emptiness. Like I was already gone, and just hadn't figured it out yet. I closed the laptop gently, wiped my fingerprints from the casing, went to the bathroom, stared at myself in the mirror where Lauren had once rehearsed her lies. I didn't cry, didn't scream, just looked myself dead in the eye and made a promise. You're not going to be the fool in this story. The next morning, I woke up before her. I lay there for a long time, staring at the ceiling, feeling like an intruder in my own bed. Lauren snored softly beside me, tangled in the sheets, wearing the same oblivious piece she'd worn for years. It made me sick. I thought about the emails, the mirror, the way she smiled when she lied. And I thought about the man she was emailing. R. Who the hell was he? I needed more. Not just for my own sanity, for the court. Because if she thought she could blindside me with crocodile tears and walk away with half my life in the settlement, she had another thing coming. After she left for rehearsal that afternoon, I started my homework. I dug through our shared desktop, the old one she barely touched anymore. Slower than her laptop, but synced to the same iCloud account. She'd forgotten that part. Or maybe she thought I'd never look. Big mistake. In 15 minutes, I had copies of her texts, calendar entries, even voicemails. I found a thread labeled Scene Partners. The first name that popped up, Ryan L. I recognized it instantly. Ryan was the hotshot director at the little black box theater downtown, 5 years younger than Lauren. Cocky, smirky. The kind of guy who wore beanies indoors and called everyone babe, like it was charming. I remembered meeting him once. Briefly. Lauren had introduced me like I was the pizza delivery guy. Hey babe, this is Ryan. He's just, like, the most talented director ever. And Ryan? Ryan shook my hand like it was a dead fish. I should have known then. But you don't see the cracks until you're already bleeding from them. I clicked on the latest messages. Ryan. Can't wait to run lines with you tonight. Lauren. Same. God, you have no idea how much I need this escape. Ryan. Soon, babe. Just a few more months. Lauren. Counting down. Wish I could fast forward through all the BS. All the BS. That was me. The mortgage. The health insurance. The stability that let her chase a dream while I worked 60 hours a week. BS. I slammed the laptop shut. My heart thudded so loud I thought the neighbors could hear it. I wanted to drive downtown, kick Ryan's door in, drag Lauren out by her fake sincere hair. But I didn't, because anger was easy. Winning? Winning would take patience. I needed evidence. Cold, hard, airtight evidence. Something no fake tears, no sob story, no desperate gaslighting could erase. Something a judge would see and think, this woman doesn't deserve a damn thing. So I made a list. Copy all digital communications. Collect timeline inconsistencies. Record behavior changes. Set up surveillance. Carefully, legally. I bought a cheap GPS tracker online that afternoon. Rushed shipping. Cash payment. 2 days later, I installed it under her car's bumper while she was upstairs pretending to meditate. 10 minutes. No trace. While I worked, she texted me from inside the house. Hey babe, don't forget we're out of almond milk. Love you. I stared at the screen. Love you. For use. Cute. If she knew what I was doing 10 feet away from her, she'd have choked on that heart emoji. That night, I stayed up late mapping her movements. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Fridays, always. Rehearsal nights. The GPS told a different story. Sure, she went to the theater at first, stayed 15 minutes max, then she'd reroute. Same apartment complex every time. Same second-floor unit. Ryan's place. Of course. It was almost poetic, how predictable she was. The next Thursday, I followed her myself, parked half a block away, watched through a pair of cheap binoculars I bought at a sporting goods store. I felt ridiculous. Creepy. But the pit in my stomach demanded it. Lauren got out of her car, all casual confidence, tote bag slung over one shoulder. She glanced around once. Guilty instincts never die. Then trotted up the stairs to his apartment. Knocked. Ryan opened the door. Barefoot. Shirtless. Laughing like the whole damn world was a joke only he understood. They kissed. Not a peck. Not a friendly hug. A full, hungry kiss, hands tangled in each other's hair. I took pictures. Date-stamped. Time-stamped. Hard truth in high definition. My fingers trembled as I lowered the camera. It was one thing to know. It was another to see. She stayed for 3 hours. When she left, she practically floated down the stairs, smiling at her phone like a teenager sneaking out after curfew. I didn't follow her home. I didn't need to. I already knew exactly what I was going to do. This wasn't about Lauren anymore. It wasn't even about Ryan. It was about me. About refusing to let someone else write the story of my life. About taking the pen back. And when the time came, I wouldn't just tell the truth. I would show it. In front of a judge. In front of our families. In front of anyone who ever thought I was the fool in this marriage. Lauren was rehearsing her lies in the mirror. But me? I was rehearsing my opening statement. And when I was done, there wouldn't be a damn curtain left to hide behind. For the next 2 weeks, I lived a double life. By day, I was the same predictable husband Lauren thought she had locked down. Work, home, kiss on the cheek. How was rehearsal, babe? Like clockwork. By night, I was building a case against her. Piece by brutal piece. I gathered everything. Screenshots of their texts, photos of their meetups, calendar records, GPS logs. Hell, I even dug up security footage from a 7-Eleven near Ryan's apartment where they bought wine together at midnight, giggling like teenagers high on hormones and bad decisions. Every click of the mouse drove another nail into the coffin of whatever love I'd had left for her. And with every nail, I felt lighter, clearer, sharper. There's something terrifying about a man who stops feeling heartbreak and starts feeling purpose. Lauren had no idea. She was still playing house, still practicing those broken little apologies in the mirror when she thought I wasn't looking, still touching my arm at dinner like a woman keeping up appearances, already halfway gone. If it hurt her to lie, she hid it well. If it thrilled her, she hid it better. I didn't confront her yet. Confrontation is messy, explosive, unreliable. What I needed wasn't a fight. It was an execution. A public one. So I waited. Waited for the perfect moment. It didn't take long. Her birthday was coming up. Lauren loved birthdays. Made them a whole production every year. Wanted to feel adored, celebrated, crowned queen for a day. Usually, I'd bend over backward to give it to her. Surprise parties. Handwritten letters. Jewelry wrapped in tissue paper. This year? Oh, I was planning a surprise. Just not the kind she could unwrap. I told her we were doing something low-key. Just us, I said, smiling like a man too stupid to see the knife in his back. We deserve a night just to ourselves. Lauren lit up like a Christmas tree. Kissed me full on the mouth. God, I love you, she whispered. The audacity. I booked a private dining room at her favorite restaurant downtown. The one where we'd celebrated our 5th anniversary. Where she cried over creme brulee and said, I can't believe how lucky I am. Ironic, looking back. I sent out the invitations quietly. Family only. Her parents, her sister, my brother, the only one who ever saw through her, a few close friends, and one very special guest. Ryan. I found his burner account through Lauren's synced emails. Texted him pretending to be her. Told him to meet her at the restaurant. Told him she had big news to share. He was dumb enough to fall for it. Of course he was. The night of the dinner, Lauren was electric with excitement. Wore a red dress I hadn't seen in months. Lipstick a little too bright. Neckline a little too low. Probably hoping Ryan would get an eyeful before we disappeared behind closed doors. I complimented her like a good husband. You look stunning, she beamed. I'm so lucky, she said, and looped her arm through mine. I almost laughed out loud. We arrived right on time. The hostess led us to the private room. The minute Lauren stepped through the door, she froze. Every face she wasn't expecting turned toward her. Her mother, her father, her sister, my brother, and Ryan, standing awkwardly at the back, clutching a bouquet of cheap gas station flowers. Lauren's smile faltered. Her hands twitched. She looked at me, wide-eyed, the panic already rising in her throat. I leaned in close, whispered in her ear, Happy birthday, sweetheart. Then I stepped back and let the show begin. Everyone talked at once. Lauren! Surprise! You didn't know? Who's he? Is that Ryan? Lauren tried to smile. Tried to lie. I watched the wheels spin behind her eyes, hunting for the right excuse. But before she could open her mouth, I cleared my throat. I think, I said, voice carrying over the crowd. We should let Lauren explain. Dead silence. Lauren swallowed hard. I don't know what's going on, she stammered. Her father frowned. Who's this guy? Lauren's face crumpled. Ryan, God bless his idiotic heart, decided to speak. She invited me, he said. Said she had something to tell me. The room shifted. Eyes locked on Lauren like a firing squad. I set the folder on the table with a soft, final thud. Maybe this will help, I said. Inside were copies of everything. Texts, photos, GPS logs, screenshots. I didn't need to say another word. Lauren's mother opened the folder first. Her hand flew to her mouth. Her father's face turned the color of a heart attack. Her sister whispered, Oh my God! Ryan started backing toward the door. Coward. Lauren finally found her voice. It's not what you think, she gasped. Please, it's complicated. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Not that complicated, I said. You were rehearsing your apology in the bathroom last month, remember? Practicing how you'd spin it when you finally got caught. Lauren shook her head, tears sliding down her face. I love you, she said, just like she had to the mirror. Only this time? No audience was buying it. I turned to her family. Lauren's been having an affair with Ryan for over 6 months, I said, voice steady as stone. While I paid the bills. While I stayed faithful. While I thought we were building a future. Her father stood up so fast his chair skidded backward. You disgust me, he snapped. Lauren crumpled into her seat. Ryan slipped out the door like a cockroach when the lights come on. Nobody stopped him. Nobody cared. I looked down at Lauren one last time. Tired. Crumpled. Small. This is your curtain call, I said quietly. Then I walked out into the night. No backward glance. No second thoughts. Just the crisp, clean slam of a door closing behind me. And the world finally, blessedly silent. The walk to my car felt like wading through water. Heavy. Surreal. I could still hear Lauren's voice in my head, begging, lying, gasping for air. I didn't look back. Didn't even slow down. I opened the car door, slid behind the wheel, and sat there gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. I expected to feel triumphant. Powerful. Instead, I just felt emptied. 9 years gone in a folder full of screenshots and GPS logs. I started the engine, pulled out of the lot, drove into the dark without a plan. Ended up parked at a dead-end street overlooking the city lights. Sat there for an hour, maybe 2, watching the world keep spinning while mine ground to a halt. My phone buzzed nonstop. Calls, texts, Lauren, her sister, even her mother. I ignored them all. Then my brother called. Against my better judgment, I answered. You good? He asked. His voice was quiet. Careful. I stared out at the glittering skyline. Define good, I said. He chuckled under his breath. You torched her life, man. No coming back from that. I didn't say anything. After a minute, he added. You did the right thing. Maybe. Maybe not. But at least I did something. By the time I got home, it was almost midnight. Lauren's car wasn't in the driveway. Good. I locked the door behind me, double-bolted it like that would keep the past from slipping inside. I crashed on the couch, fully dressed, slept like the dead. The next morning, the twist punched me in the gut before I even had a chance to pour coffee. A knock on the door. Firm. Relentless. I yanked it open, ready to throw Lauren's apology right back in her face. But it wasn't Lauren. It was her sister, Jessica. Tight-lipped, red-eyed, clutching a manila envelope against her chest like it was radioactive. She didn't wait for an invitation. She shoved the envelope into my hands. You need to see this, she said, voice raw. Then she turned on her heel and left. No explanation. No goodbye. Just a storm door banging in her wake. I stared at the envelope for a long second before tearing it open. Inside? Photos. Dozens of them. Lauren. Ryan. Other men. Not just from the past 6 months. Not just from rehearsals. From years. Different apartments. Different hotels. Different lies. The timestamps didn't lie. Lauren had been cheating almost the entire marriage. The man I'd caught her with? Just the latest in a long, proud tradition. I sank onto the floor, photos spilling across the living room rug like shrapnel, and that's when the final bomb dropped. A note, handwritten in Jessica's shaky cursive. I found these cleaning out Mom's attic. Lauren used to brag about how easy it was to cover her tracks. She said you were too loyal to ever question her. I'm sorry. She knew. Jessica had known. Maybe not everything. But enough. Enough to stay silent. Enough to let me stand at the altar without warning. Enough to sit across Thanksgiving tables year after year and smile while Lauren played house with me. The betrayal widened, deepened. It wasn't just Lauren. It was the whole rotten, complicit network of people who thought I didn't deserve the truth. I sat there surrounded by proof of my own stupidity, my hands shaking in my lap. I wanted to burn it all, torch every photo, every memory, but I didn't. Instead, I gathered every piece, sorted it, filed it, prepared it. Because if Lauren thought the restaurant scene was the end, she was about to learn something very important. You don't get to bury a man alive and walk away smiling. Not when he finally learns how to dig his way out. I didn't call Lauren. I didn't text, didn't rage post, didn't even breathe her name into the silence of my house. I just built my case, patient, precise, cold. First, I scanned every photo Jessica had given me, labeled them by date, location, and event. Compared them to Lauren's calendar entries, social media posts, and old emails. It was almost impressive how cleanly she'd lived 2 lives. Date night selfies with me posted the same nights she slipped into someone else's bed. "Can't believe how lucky I am," she'd captioned one. Ironic, considering she was grinning next to me while her purse still smelled like a stranger's cologne. Second, I called my lawyer. Her name was Maria, 40-something, former prosecutor, sharp as broken glass. When I told her what I had, she whistled low under her breath. "You don't just have grounds for divorce," she said. "You have grounds for scorched earth." Music to my ears. Third, I played the long game. I filed for divorce quietly, but I also filed a marital misconduct claim. In our state, that meant Lauren could lose her share of the assets. Big time. And thanks to the overwhelming evidence, it wasn't even going to be a fight. It was going to be a slaughter. While the paperwork moved through the system, Lauren tried everything. First came the texts. "I'm sorry. I panicked. Can we talk?" Then the guilt bombs. "I miss us. Please don't throw it all away." Then the gaslighting. "I only turned to Ryan because I felt so alone. Lonely. Funny. I was the one going to work every day to keep a roof over her head while she played dress up with strangers. But sure, she was the lonely one." When text didn't work, she escalated. She showed up at my office one afternoon. Tight jeans, soft eyes, that same sugary voice she used when she wanted something. "I just want to explain," she said, hands fluttering helplessly. My receptionist looked at me like want me to call security. I shook my head. I stood up, walked right past Lauren without a word. Didn't even flinch when she reached for my sleeve like a drowning woman grabbing at driftwood. The door clicked shut behind me. Best sound I'd heard in months. But Lauren wasn't done. Because manipulators never are. The next move? Weaponizing her family. Jessica texted. Her mother called. Even Lauren's father, the man who called her disgusting at the restaurant, emailed me a Bible verse about forgiveness. Forgiveness. As if I was the one who burned our life to ash. I stayed silent. Let them scream into the void while I built the bomb. The day of the hearing finally arrived. I wore a black suit, white shirt, no tie. Nothing for her to cling to. Lauren showed up looking like a tragedy in heels, pale, fragile, tears already welling in her eyes before she even sat down. The judge barely glanced at her. Because Maria had already filed everything, photos, texts, timelines, sworn affidavits. Lauren's crimes weren't just mistakes. They were a pattern, a decade-long strategy of betrayal so deeply ingrained it might as well have been part of her DNA. The judge read the file, looked at Lauren, looked at me. His voice was dry when he spoke. "Given the overwhelming evidence of infidelity and misconduct, the court awards the majority of the marital assets to the petitioner." Lauren made a small, broken noise, like a balloon deflating. The judge continued, "The respondent will vacate the marital property within 30 days. She is entitled to her personal belongings and her vehicle only. No savings, no house, no pension slice, nothing but what she could carry." And even that felt like a mercy. I didn't smile, didn't gloat, just nodded once. Businesslike, professional. Inside, I was a burning cathedral of relief. Afterward, Lauren tried to catch me outside the courthouse. I saw her coming from 50 feet away. Saw the way she stumbled in those ridiculous heels, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Saw the folder clutched to her chest like a battered shield. When she got close enough, she said my name like it hurt. "I never meant for it to end like this." I stared at her, at the woman who once stood beside me at an altar and swore she'd love me until the end. At the woman who rehearsed apologies in the mirror while she plotted her next affair. "You ended it a long time ago," I said, voice calm. "You just finally ran out of stages to perform on." She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Is there anything I can say to make it right?" she whispered. I shook my head. "You rehearsed every apology you could think of," I said. "None of them were real." Then I walked away, left her standing there under the gray courthouse sky, clutching empty words and shattered pride. But just when I thought it was over, the final twist hit. 3 days later, I got a letter in the mail. Official. From the local theater guild. Apparently, Lauren had been nominated for a small regional acting award, something she'd been working toward for years. But someone, anonymously of course, had sent the guild copies of her messages, detailing her rehearsal techniques and double life. They were reviewing her nomination. considering rescinding it for behavior unbecoming of an honored member. I didn't send it. I didn't have to. Because when you burn enough bridges, sooner or later the whole world smells the smoke. Lauren wasn't just losing her marriage. She was losing the fantasy world she built on top of it. Brick by brick, lie by lie. And me? I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't bitter. I was just done, free, untouchable. The final curtain had fallen. And this time? There was no applause, only silence. And God, it was beautiful. 6 months. That's how long it took for the echoes to fade, for the smell of her perfume to finally bleed out of the couch cushions, for the silence in the house to feel like peace instead of punishment. I moved into a smaller place. 2 bedrooms, hardwood floors, big windows that let the light pour in like water. The first night I slept there, I left the windows open. Let the cold air wrap around me like a baptism. No ghosts. No lies. Just me. Alive. Solid. Real. I didn't date right away. Didn't chase distractions. Didn't fill the loneliness with cheap replacements. I sat with it. Let it crack me open. Therapy helped. Not the cheesy, self-help book kind. The real kind. The brutal kind. Where the therapist sits back and lets you talk until your own words slice you to pieces. You loved an idea, she said once, after I spent an hour ranting about Lauren. Not a person. The person was never really there. It hit harder than any betrayal ever did. But it was true. Lauren wasn't the loss. Lauren was the illusion. What I mourned was the man I thought I was when I was with her. Naive. Loyal. Good. Turns out, none of those things protect you from someone who sees love as a stage prop. And once I understood that, I started to heal. Started rebuilding. Piece by shattered piece. New routines. New friends. New life. I picked up boxing again. Took weekend trips. Started sleeping through the night without waking up sweating from some nightmare where Lauren was laughing in my face. By the time the divorce was finalized, the house sold, the bank accounts separated, Lauren was little more than a bad taste I finally spit out. The theater community dropped her quietly. The award nomination was withdrawn. Her Instagram, once a highlight reel of fake bliss, dried up into silence. I heard she moved into a 1-bedroom apartment on the other side of town. Started working as a receptionist at a gym. Poetic, considering how many hours she spent pretending yoga was salvation. I didn't stalk her. Didn't dig. Didn't care. She was a closed chapter. A smudge on a page I didn't need to reread. But life has a funny sense of humor. Because one night, walking out of a late dinner with some coworkers, I saw her, Lauren, sitting outside a coffee shop, alone. No makeup, hair scraped back, a paperback novel in one hand, a chipped coffee mug in the other. She looked normal, smaller somehow. Like all the shine she polished herself with had finally worn off. Our eyes met across the street. Just for a second. No smiles. No nods. No recognition. Just 2 ghosts passing through each other's ruins. I could have walked over. Could have said something cutting, something final. But I didn't. Because the truth was, I didn't need anything from her anymore. Not an apology. Not an explanation. Not closure. She'd already given me the greatest gift without realizing it. Freedom. From her. From the lies. From the version of myself that thought love meant carrying someone else's brokenness until it crushed you. I walked away without looking back. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I realized something important. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't sad. I wasn't hollow. I was clean. Whole. Unbreakable. Lauren could keep rehearsing whatever script she needed to survive. Victim. Hero. Misunderstood wife. It didn't matter. Because the story that mattered, the real story, was the one I wrote for myself. And it didn't have a part for her anymore. Only a blank page. Fresh. Untouched. Waiting. I slipped my hands into my jacket pockets, turned the corner, and disappeared into the night. A man with nothing left to lose, and everything left to build.